Okay, so my name's Warren Redlick from West Boca News, and I'm here with a group of kids from Olympic Heights. Do you guys have a name for your group?
A
Yeah.
lot of letters for change.
535 letters for change.
535 letters for change. Okay, so 535 letters, that's a reference to 435 members of the House and 100 members of the Senate, right? And what are the letters going to say?
Okay, so pretty much, so what we did in the letters is we kind of just voiced our concerns, pretty much just saying, so as high school students, since there really has not been since there has not been a lot of legislation passed really to kind of keep our schools safe, we currently do feel very scared to sit in school. So our letter outlines that, and then kind of just also goes ahead and then proceeds to talk about some of our proposals or different avenues we think action can be taken through.
Okay, so number one, let's start with you feel unsafe in school.
Yes.
I would actually say that that's not crazy. Just to be clear, I don't know what's exactly in the letter, but I can see from the sign over there some of what's in the letter.
Right.
And I can tell you, just to give you guys a heads up, I may not agree with everything you're going to advocate.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Everyone has.
I'm not going to be I think I see a lot of media interviews where people are very soft on kids.
Right.
And oh, they gave a great speech. Okay. But so, do you think that? Let me just a simple question. One of the things it talks about military grade weapons. Do any of you have a specific idea what you mean by military grade?
Okay, essentially, it's military grade is so usually when you kind of look at it, when you look at the types of guns, it is somewhere either going to be military grade or non-military grade. Military grade is going to be anything that's going to fire off a lot of rounds, like an assault rifle, versus you look at a pistol or a hunting rifle, which is going to go just a lot slower, whereas you have an AR-15, which is constant fire.
Okay, so let me just to be clear. Have you ever fired a gun?
I've never fired a gun before.
Any of you?
I have.
What kind of gun did you fire?
I fired a pistol.
Okay. Was it a revolver or a semi-automatic pistol? Or something else?
I am not sure. One was a revolver.
Okay, how about you?
A hunting rifle.
A hunting rifle. Was it bolt action? Do you know?
It was just single shot.
Single shot?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when you say military grade, this is one of the complaints that I have about people who advocate positions that I'll call gun control. No military uses the AR-15. They use rifles that are fairly similar to the AR-15, but no military uses an AR-15 rifle. So, and militaries use pistols. So, there's a military shotgun. So I'm just going to tell you my opinion, okay, that the term military grade is a term that a lot of people use that doesn't have a clear meaning. So another term that's used a lot is assault weapon, and I think that's probably something you guys talk about.
Yeah.
Do you guys, and people don't know there's multiple definitions.
Well, one could be like, I know you guys were saying with the military grade, semi-automatic, automatic sniper rifles, they're highly powerful, although they only shoot like one shot at a time. They have like incredible range and accuracy.
Sure. If you read Chris Kyle's book, you see the book about Chris Kyle as a sniper, you learn more about that, the Lapua 338. But the reason I bring up assault weapon is because there's the assault weapons ban that was in place from 1994 to 2004 from President Clinton.
Yeah, I remember.
Which some people call the Clinton gun ban, some people call it the assault weapons ban. And AR-15s were not inherently banned by that ban. Now there's also the New York SAFE Act. I'm from New York. I don't know if any of you guys are from New York. If you've been to New York, New York adopted a very, very restrictive law, much more restrictive than the Clinton gun ban back it was a few years ago. And I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and I've represented people arrested under the New York SAFE Act. So a lot of modern handguns are illegal under the New York SAFE Act. So another example is your thing says high capacity magazines. What's standard capacity? Hear my question. What's standard capacity? If you may have in your mind that a 30-round magazine is high capacity, what would be standard?
I would say a standard would be anything that is 9 rounds or below, because I know like according to Senator Dianne Feinstein's proposed assault weapons ban of 2017 within the proposed thing. I think they talk about banning anything that has 10 rounds or higher. So going off of that bill, even though I don't know like an exact, I would say that I classify a standard as anything that's 9 or below.
Okay, but I didn't ask you what you're trying to ban. I asked you what standard capacity is.
To be honest with you, I do not have any.
Let me be clear. what I worry about for you guys is, I see this issue as something that gets played by both sides in a partisan way. And when you say things like military grade and high capacity, people who might disagree with you will already dislike what you're saying because they don't agree with your use of language. Okay? And you should be clear, what is it, for example, when you say you want to ban military grade weapons with, let's say, more than 10 rounds, 10 or more rounds in the magazine, would that include pistols?
Well, with pistols, like they usually come, like 7 shot each magazine, but there's the extended clips where you could load like 15 bullets at once.
Okay, so
For
this is
example, like bumpers.
bump stock's a different thing. I'm just sticking with this point about, I want you guys to understand this because I'm not the first person who's going to interview you. And you might come across somebody who's actually hostile. Okay?
Okay.
You've probably seen videos where people jam someone.
Oh yeah, no, I've
Okay.
seen that. That goes for both sides. I don't care if you're watching
So-
CNN or whatever.
So
or Fox.
it is very common for pistols to carry 10 rounds or more. Okay? It is very common. A lot of standard pistols have 17 rounds. Okay? You'll see police walking around with a Glock. Regular person can buy a Glock 19 or a Glock 17 and they carry a lot more rounds than 10. So you have to, and the reason I'm getting at this point is you guys are trying to achieve legislation. You want Congress to do something. The further you go in what you want to ban, because that's what we're talking about, I think,
Yes.
the more people you're taking something away from. Okay? If you say we just want to ban 75 round drums, then very few people, we want to ban bump stocks. You mentioned bump stocks. I don't care about bump stocks. I know I know a lot of gun owners. I've been to many ranges. I've never seen a bump stock on a range. Most people think they're a joke. So if the goal was to ban bump stocks, I don't think, of course it didn't matter in Parkland, right? But most people aren't going to care about bump stocks. But if you say I want to ban all magazines that have more than 10 rounds or 10 or more rounds, you've just got a lot more people upset saying, wait a minute, he just doesn't want to take away those guns. He wants to take away my guns. And now all of a sudden you have a lot more resistance to what you're trying to accomplish. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no, I understand your viewpoint. And that, because that's kind of the challenge. This is such a complex and multifaceted issue. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, I mean, we don't really have all that much knowledge of guns because really, we don't really use guns, so we don't really know like all the gun lingo. So, however though, in the future, while we are going to go ahead, like as we continue to push for gun reform, we will obviously go ahead and once we get down to the nitty-gritty and specifics, we will go ahead and to push our agenda, we will go ahead and look at we'll get more specific and use. But however, kind of getting back to your question about the military grade, I think even though I do know even though I know that a pistol can still hold 10 rounds, there's a big difference between a rifle between a gun like an AR-15, which can fire off a lot of shots in succession, versus a pistol, which is not nearly as fast. So when people say military grade, we are essentially referring to those guns that can fire off at a much faster rate than just a pistol.
Okay.
So that's when we use military grade in that context. That is what we mean.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I was concerned about is you're shooting for Congress.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are a small and active and motivated group of people,
Correct.
right? And you have people behind you. It's not just you. We're hoping a lot of people show up today. A lot of people, when they see a problem, they decide Congress has to do something about it. Okay. But there are also issues that came up in this incident that were local, right?
Right.
Are you guys familiar with what happened in Broward County that led up to this incident?
Are we talking about the FBI whiffing on the tips?
The FBI is federal. I'm talking about local. Did you know that that the sheriff had been to his house about over 30 times?
I do recall hearing that.
Okay. And did you know that they had been a major disciplinary problem in the schools?
Yes, we know that. We do know that.
It's not just the expulsion.
You know, he
Right.
went to like
He had problems dating back to elementary school.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
And did you know do you know what Division of Children and Family Services is?
yes.
I don't know if it's called Department of Children and Families or DC. It's called DCF, Broward
Yeah,
DCF.
DCF.
They'd been involved in his life.
Right.
And they had something on Snapchat where he was cutting himself and saying he was going to get a gun.
Yeah, I heard that, and then there were also some. If you go under his Instagram, I remember that from what I've heard that he's posted a lot of videos. That he posted a lot of videos of dead animals,
Of guns,
of
everything.
guns.
I saw the pictures of guns on Instagram. I didn't see videos. But I'm asking this for a reason, which is you're focused on Congress, which is a big lift, right? You're surrounded by, it was one of the challenges for you guys. You're surrounded by people who agree with you. I'm probably the first person who's talked to you who might not agree with everything you're saying, right? Okay. When you go to Congress, there's a lot of people who aren't going to agree with you.
Of course.
And there's a lot of people, people talk about how powerful the NRA is. I actually don't think the NRA is quite as powerful as people think, but there's more of them than there are of you, right? And they're active and they're very sophisticated. One of the other, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do what you're doing today, by the way. I think it's great that you guys are active. But I'm wondering, have you thought about what you could do locally and whether you could have more impact locally?
Actually, yes, we
Yes.
have. So one of the main goals of holding this event today, we do not envision this as a one-time event.
No.
Our goal is to have multiple schools do it. It'll start at the local level and it will continue to build up. That is our hope. And I know you kind of said we obviously recognize that some people are not going to agree with us. And that is why we are not pushing a specific issue such as gun control or mental health our central message is let's improve school security, and then under that umbrella, then you deal with the little facets within that.
Okay, so
Right.
I know your school a little. I've been to your shows.
Yes.
I hear a lot of different ideas about school security, and my daughter goes to West Boca High, and I have another kid at Loggers Run, and my kids went to Water's Edge Elementary School, so I'm familiar with, and I've actually spoken to one of your classes a couple times years ago. So I know the basic layout of your school.
Right.
There's multiple ways in, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Which is beyond
And
problematic.
I think typically, do you guys have one police officer? I usually see
yeah.
two sometimes.
Yeah.
There's
We
two.
have one.
Well, there's one.
One or two.
One official, one school affiliated one.
Okay.
Who lets everyone in.
So, do you guys have, I don't expect you to have answers today. I don't have answers today. I don't know if anybody has answers, but do you have any suggestions, just some thoughts at the top of your head? What are some things that could, just think about Olympic Heights. These are 6 students from Olympic Heights, if I didn't say that at the beginning. What are some things that could be done at Olympic Heights that you feel would improve security?
I think a few things. One thing I have heard, an idea I've heard being thrown around is having retired veterans guard the schools, which I think would be a good thing. Of course, you have metal detectors. I think even condensing, maybe kind of just setting up more fences and really decreasing the avenues through which people can go ahead and
Yes.
get into the school, entrances, not avenues.
Just before I'm done, I want to encourage you guys. I think you're going to be disappointed in the short run.
Yeah,
And I don't necessarily agree with you, but I encourage you to stay active,
We will.
we will.
to learn, and keep going. Don't let a brief, I don't think you're getting anything done before 2021 federally, right? Because President Trump serves till 2020.
Right.
So stay active.
Yes.
I mean, that's where we obviously do recognize it's not just our fight, and that you're talking about probably one of the most controversial issues in the nation we are currently dealing with. And by holding this event, we don't expect change like that. However, we hope to push enough change as to where something happens, because it is enough of no change, of empty promises. We need change now.
Okay, real quick, let me just get your names.
Mitchell Pinsky.
Mitchell Pinsky,
Victoria Lichtenthal.
Victoria
Lichtenthal.
Lichtenthal.
Julia Eisenberg.
Drew Pinsky.
Brooke Hall.
Carly Terkiel.
Thank you very much.